What's happening, Canopy Growth traders and investors? It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. Today's Monday, July 11th. Hope you had a great weekend and a great day. In this short video, going to be discussing the stock Canopy Growth. We're going to be charting CGC, so it'll be the US ticker, and we had the bear flag target reached of $2.33 USD. Going to discuss all that and more. We'll take a look at the chart, do some technical analysis. Before we get to that though, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe and take the bell and you'll be notified on any future updates. Taking a look at Canopy Growth here, it's ticker symbol WEED on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So you can see here market cap is now 1.209, so essentially round that up to 1.21 billion. It did increase, and that has to do with this announcement. I did a video on this as well. Canopy Growth announces exchanges with holders of approximately US 198 million for the convertible notes. So essentially they issued shares to pay off their convertible debt. So essentially they had a bunch of debt, and rather than, using their cash reserves, they issued more shares to pay for that convertible debt. And that could be for a multitude of different reasons. Maybe they're looking to save their cash and potentially enter into another deal. Maybe they're going to do another merger and acquisition. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. But I do think that it's possible, especially with a lot of other LPs making moves. We know that Tilray and Hexo are partnering financially and commercially, and then Sundial's looking to make some moves. They have a ton of cash as well, and we know that they're making a stalking horse bid for Zenabis assets, so that could be their into the EU and that multi-facility EU GMP certification. So there's going to be a lot of competition from other LPs, and we know that Canopy is dropping significantly in terms of market share, so that may entice them and motivate them to get a deal done. I also did another video here, Canopy Growth, bankruptcy risks. There was a FUD article. I think it was FUD, pure uncertainty and doubt. They're just too big to fail, in my opinion. We know that they just partnered with the NHL. BioSteel just partnered with the NHL, and the official hydration drink of the NHL and the NHL Players Association. I just did a video on that as well. You can check that out. But that's some huge news. And then I also went over the weekly bear flag target in this video. And I've been shouting from the rooftops, warning people about it now for at least a few weeks. And essentially, there was tons of bear flags across the sector. We had Auxly with a bear flag. We had Canopy Growth, High Tide, Trulieve, Tilray, Hexo. There was pretty much weekly bear flags across the entire sector, both Canadian, both American MJ stocks as well. And if we take a look at the chart here, you can see, again, this is CGC. So we're charting it on the NASDAQ. All prices mentioned in US dollars. You can see here we had the high, the low, anything under the 0.32 there at $4.38 was a potential weekly bear flag. And if we take the measured move, you just go from the high to the low, you take that measured move, essentially you would just move that over here to the 0.32 fib, and look at how perfectly this came to fruition. So we knew that we were going to potentially see a weekly bear flag. If we got above the 0.32 there at 438, that would have negated it. And then on the week here of June 27th, we confirmed it by losing key support there at 324. So the high, low, lower high. And then once we lost that key support there at 324, that confirmed the weekly bear flag. And here we are. Target has been reached of $2.33. We actually over exceeded it. We hit $2.31 today. Auxly did a similar thing. It had a bear flag target of about 8 cents and got as low as 7 cents and overshot that target. So CGC kind of doing the same thing here. I did add some CGC to my MJ portfolio, full disclosure. I added Auxly as well today. Let me know in the comments below if you did pick some up or if you benefited from my call out here on this weekly bear flag. Technical analysis doesn't really matter a whole lot when we're in a huge bear market, but these are some classic examples of how we can utilize technical analysis and charts to potentially get a better price, right? I was looking to add some CGC. This isn't a guarantee. This was just probabilities, but it's pretty astounding that how perfectly that played out, right? And we knew that with this convertible debt news, that was going to be more dilution and hurt the stock, right? So they issue more shares, therefore hurting the share price of existing shareholders, called dilution, right? But we could see a little bit more downside from here. We zoom out to the monthly time frame. We're not quite monthly oversold yet. We're very close, but essentially this is the second time we've been this low on the monthly RSI. And if you knew nothing about charts and you just sell when we're monthly overbought and buy when we're near monthly oversold, you'd probably do better than 99% of retail investors out there. But just look at how absolutely atrocious this monthly chart is. We've only bounced once on the monthly time frame, and that was back in November of last year. It was the only time. Every other candle has just been a monthly lower high. I don't think I've ever seen this before. It's pretty crazy, the amount of downside. I mean, this is 17 months and we only bounced once. So that's 16 months of consolidation and pullback. Like I said, $56 all the way down to $2.31 is pretty astounding. And the fact that market makers were able to manipulate it this bad. But like I said, just starting to scout a bottom here. Again, I did add today. It's only about 5% of my MJ portfolio at the moment. It's fairly small. I will look to potentially add 1 to 2 more times. But again, with this convertible debt and these shares being issued, we could see a lot more. We may even issue quite a bit more shares, and maybe even get up. That'll increase the market cap as well. But like I said, statistics, taking a look, just keep an eye on the share count. Right now, the outstanding shares are sitting at 403.14 million. So just keep an eye. If that continues to increase, that will be your reasoning as to why we're seeing a lot more weakness in the stock. We do have earnings coming up this week from Organigram and Valens, but we're not expecting earnings on Canopy until the second week of August. So that will be something to keep an eye out for as well. And then in terms of the weekly time frame, we're still well below the 10-week moving average there at $3.92, and we're still bearish here on the stochastic and the MACD. We almost had a bull cross there. We turned bullish, but here we are crossing bearish again with the black coming down through the red, and it's not looking good at the moment whatsoever. I think we're going to see a little bit more downside, but again, just questioning how much more downside from here. Likely going to hit monthly oversold, and we know that MJ is not positioned well at all if SPY sees another leg down. The S&P 500, it's even struggling, the S&P 500, to confirm a daily uptrend, which is a pretty big sign of weakness in my opinion. But we did have a death cross back in June of 2020 on CGC, and that ended up being a pretty big warning sign to jump ship essentially. But man, what an insane 17 months that we've been experiencing, right? Just unlike anything I've ever seen. And this is just a classic example that the market can stay irrational longer than we can stay solvent, right? It can always go lower. And in terms of the weekly moving averages, we have nothing nearby until the 50 weekly there at $9.30. I do think we're ripe for a massive move here. We're getting far away, very far away from our moving averages. Generally, we ebb and flow, and we retrace back to those, and we gravitate toward those moving averages. We don't have anything nearby on the 50-day moving average. So take a look at the daily moving averages. The nearest we have is the 50-day at $4.45. So like I said, once we see any kind of catalyst across the sector, if it's safe banking gaining traction, maybe it's Schumer dropping his bill in the second week of August, like it's tentative to do, then we could easily see a 50 to 100% move and trap some shorts and see a pretty big short squeeze across the sector. Again, I just did some videos on Sundial. I did a video here on High Tide. They had some huge news after hours. Stock was up about 15%, but essentially their subsidiary Bless CBD is now listed on Amazon UK. And like I said, make sure to check out the video here with the NHL partnership. That's some huge news as well. But again, expecting a tiny bit more downside, not a whole lot in my opinion, though. We still have some other weekly bear flags across the sector. So it's entirely possible that we're heading to that monthly oversold, and maybe we bottom out somewhere around that $2 USD area. But I did add some to my position, and I'll be looking to add maybe 1 or 2 more times. Definitely going to be keeping CGC a little bit lower in terms of percentage of my MJ portfolio, just because it has been struggling as of late, and they're not expecting any real profits or profitability until 2024 or potentially 2025. But we know that any kind of U.S. legalization or safe banking would be absolutely massive for the stock and the sector. And with Canopy relying heavily on U.S. legalization, that's really going to be the catalyst that sends this thing to the moon, really, quote unquote, to the moon. All right, let me know in the comments below if you added any today. Personally, like I said, I'm going to be adding 1 or 2 more times. Full disclosure, I am an investor in CGC, just been accumulating over the last couple of weeks, and I've got an average. I can't remember what my average is. I'll just check it here. I mentioned to private POW Group community members today that I did take another position And yeah, I got an average of $3.23 Canadian on Canopy. Let me know what your average is and if you added today. Going to end it there though. Let me know if you agree with me, disagree with me in terms of all the analysis. I always love hearing from you. Thanks again for joining us in the Pursuit of Wealth. If you could like the video, share it with anybody that might find value, and we'll see you on the next update. Thanks again for joining us in the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you in the next video.